Hey, this is GEN-X-Ploration, and today we're going to talk about protecting your Constitution and aim your focus. Bobby.
Yeah, Constitution. Not the one that's written on a wall. No, not that one. That's a different Constitution. That one's also important, but we're talking about your personal Constitution.
There's a lot of leeway because basically a Constitution, whether it's your personal Constitution or the document, the American document, it's a guiding principles. It's based on the people's values, which is based on your own values. So,
not negating, but underlining. Okay.
Underlining. Yeah. So when I think in this time and space, we're in a lot of turmoil. We're getting a lot of external motivation, and I came up with this acronym AIM. So we're going to go into that. The important thing to know is previously we talked about the F word that the GenXer's mastered, which is, and I'll link that up above, but that is pretty much forgiveness. And the key to that was empathy. And the key to empathy, which leads us directly, we're going to kind of go in an overview mode this week, just kind of touch on each point, and then next week for the A, next week we'll do the A, the week after that we'll do the I, and then we'll do the M. Okay, so sounds good, Bobby?
Break it down.
Break it down. This is all about perspective, gaining internal compass, and really navigating your Constitution. Now, Constitution is how you regulate your emotions, how you regulate your physical body, your mind body, your spiritual body. So A is awareness, and I kind of like to use the house as a metaphor. Because there's components of a house that are important. So there's a lot of stuff that is supportive in the house, but is unseen. And and I thought, okay, what is that? That's kind of like PVC. It kind of directs electrical. It kind of directs, water, the flow. So you can really look at this as what directs your energy and what directs your flow. Because in life we want to be in flow, not stuck. So
we do in so many ways. We do. Yeah.
So these unseen things is when you look at somebody, P is for pain. Pain, we have traumas, we have things we go through, but these are things that don't happen to you. They happen for you and for others, meaning they cultivate lessons. Lessons are very imperative.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
We don't want the pain. I mean, we have used the term, they have to skin their knee in order to learn. And sometimes even as adults, that's what we do. I was talking to you before we went on air on some things that I've just learned about myself in the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, gosh, when does it stop? I guess it doesn't. And that's good. We keep bringing new things in to learn and better ourselves. And I'm just trying to better myself.
Exactly.
And I want you guys to better yourselves.
We both do. I mean, it's a process, my friends, and there is pain, but it's not for naught. It is for a reason. But the pain also cultivates, the V part of it is values. It shapes what we value in life. Like if we're abandoned by one parent or the other, we value connection with other people. We value people that stand by your side. You know what I mean? So your pain will cultivate
that could be a relationship.
Yeah. And people might be like, how do I know what my values are? I have this going on over here, this going on over here. The church is telling me this. My parents are telling me this. What are my values? That's being aligned and asking yourself, what is your values? I don't care if you print out a list of values and circle the ones that resonate with you and just say, what is my value, like 20 times, and pick the top 5 because they change over time. They do. Your values change. What I valued at 20 is not what I value right now at 47. Not at all. Not
I
even
like that
close.
you said that because I used to have people when I had a, outpatient facility. That was something that I actually did. I would have a list of values and I would have them circle them. And what's funny is that as they were like tangibly doing that and reading and talking out loud, it was like they were finding out some things about themselves because it's a door that they hadn't opened for so long.
Right.
And they're like, oh my God, I really needed to open that door.
Right. And I think this is imperative in this time and space because values lead to boundaries. It allows us to understand what boundaries we have. You know, if we had somebody that abandoned us before, we are less likely to tolerate that type of behavior in our friendships or relationships and so forth.
Agreed.
So, okay, so now, we're on the C part of the PVC in your house, this house that makes you feel safe. Yes.
Oh, is it clarity?
It is. All of this gives away to clarity.
I did it.
Because as people, we often say that I'm stuck. I just don't know what to do. But when we go and we become aware of our pain, when we become aware of the lessons, they don't even need to be your own lessons. You can see somebody else's lessons and bring that into your ether. And that cultivates values, boundaries, which gives you clarity. So we have the unseen support, which is the PVC in your house, the house that makes you feel safe. So the foundation of your house is intention. And when I think of foundation, I think of the frame. So we're going to use the acronym FRAME.
I thought we were using AIM because you said
well, AIM because A is awareness, I is intention. So we're going to look at the foundation, which is the frame. Does that make sense?
Okay. That it does now.
And for the viewers, I was meditating on this morning, and I was like, Lord, universe, just give me direction on what we're going to talk about today. And I wrote this down like in a minute because this is what was downloaded. If that sounds woo-woo to you, this is what came to me.
Hey, you know what? Some of the best songs on earth were written on a tour bus.
Right.
Okay, in between the shows. So it doesn't mean that you have to get 27 books out and a computer and a coffee and sit down and put on a green, visor and think. Sometimes they could just come to you if you stop down and think about it. So.
Yeah. So we have awareness. We went through the PVC. Now we're on intention. We're going to go through the frame. The frame is your foundation. And F is for feel. I'm not talking about just touch. I'm not talking about just listen. I'm talking about energetically just embodying the feeling, like really feel it. Like if you're walking on this, like if you are in your happy place and you are walking on the sand, I want you to feel the sand in between your toes. I want you to hear the crashing of the waves. I want you to taste the salt in the air. I want you to feel with all of your 5 senses. Quite often we don't give ourselves time and space to really energetically use all of our senses. And
let me highlight that a little bit, please, because when you're saying that and bringing in those senses, you're taking in some of the positive there and you want to realize that, but it also works the other way where when you're taking in the negative, you can realize this isn't something that I want to do. This isn't something that I want to participate in. This isn't something I want to continue to do. So it works both ways. It kind of accentuates the positive and, helps to eliminate the negative. I think there's a song that says that, but yes,
I know.
It goes along with that.
Well, it's a discernment, meaning when I was going through my car accident, I had a lot of negative feelings because it was a trauma, my friends. You might be going through a trauma, but you have discernment to accept into your heart what you want to move forward. So for me, it was just a simple thing. I'm a very kinesthetic, like I have to do things for things to really fit with me. So I was like, whatever serves me, I accept in my heart with love. Whatever does not serve me, I give away to the universe, to God, whatever, the doorknob, whatever you want to put in that bracket, that, you know, and I send it away with love. Meaning there's nothing good or bad. It's just what you discern is appropriate for you. What is for the betterment of yourself.
Right.
Your higher self.
Your higher self.
Yes. So, I mean, we're on the F of frame. So for intention, so you're feeling. While you're feeling, this is a good time to reflect on those lessons, to reflect on those values, to reflect on your boundaries, to reflect on the clarity that you want to have. Really reflect. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that it sounds daunting when you're saying all those things, but just piecemeal them together.
Yep.
Just do them kind of one at a time, and just have some acceptance of what you're thinking and feeling as you're doing that. Like you said something about boundaries.
Right.
You and I know that boundaries are one of the most important things that we can have.
Yeah.
In our personal lives, in our religious lives, in our sexual lives, in our political lives.
Right.
It's very important to have those.
Yeah.
And they need to be a little bit dynamic, yes, but they also need to have some static areas where, like, no, I'm going to hold steadfast on this because these are the things that protect me. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to do here. We're trying to get, education and learning, but we're also doing this so that you can have tools and elements to be able to do this over and over again. Because, I'm sure that Kinsey will agree with me when I say that we can look at these acronyms, we can see them, but we have to participate. I was just telling a client the other day when I was talking to them about something very similar to this. I said, when I was 12 years old, I could ride a wheelie on my bicycle from my house all the way to the store, which was like 7 blocks away. I could, all the way. I could ride a wheelie the whole way there. Try and do that now. You know why? Because I haven't rode a wheelie in a long time. And we don't want to be picking my big ass up off the ground when I fall. That's going to suck a lot. So you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and that leads right into the A of frame of intention is accept. Meaning that you're accepting what is happening in this time and space. That doesn't mean you condone it. That doesn't mean whatever. It just means that you have a data point. You're acknowledging what is happening. Otherwise, you get in denial. You get in that shock type of mode of thinking, like this isn't happening, and acceptance is key to move forward. You kind of have to have the breadcrumbs to know, where you're at. And sometimes that requires the M of it is, of the frame for intention is mindfulness and meditation. Simply, that just means grounding down into your own body. Sitting with yourself.
Yes. You're saying that and you make it sound so simple. But sometimes it's really, really difficult. I mean, some people just don't want to be alone with themselves. Some people don't want to have that time to think because those thoughts will come in. If they're coming in, they probably need to be dealt with. And I love that frame has 2 aims. 2 M's. Yeah. Two aims.
Yeah.
Wow. That's one of our acronyms, AIM. I'm just, wow.
Yeah. So
it's frame, mama.
I mean, if you are feeling uncomfortable, and I'm not sitting here saying that, this is easy peasy. This is easy peasy. That's not what I'm saying. Whenever I get activated, whenever I get triggered, or when I get that uncomfortability in myself, it's an invitation. Ding, ding, ding. Invitation to grow.
Uncomfortability. That is definitely a Kinseyism. I'm writing that down.
Because the E of frame is we have to have a guiding star. It's the end goal. Like to get anywhere in your life, like if you are planning to run a marathon, you have to have an end goal, okay? You know that it's like 26.2 miles. So then you have to
Not die, I think would be my goal.
I know.
For starters.
So,
And how much
you
of it
have
can
to...
I walk?
The end goal requires you to chunk it down to make it more palatable so that you can frame your intention to move forward.
Bingo.
You like how I did that?
Nicely tied in. Well done. It got rid of my uncomfortability.
I know.
No,
so
yeah.
we have the PVC of awareness in the house. The unseen support. We have the I for the intention, the foundation, the frame. We have the frame of our intention, the foundation. And now we're in the M. Now this is all good. All of the stuff that we do is good, but if we don't have something that symbolizes resilience, that withstands challenges, we don't have movement. And in our house of safety, where, that to me, it's a roof, that's the protection. That's the resilience. We weather the storm of our house by our roof.
I love this. Yeah, you're laughing because we had a conversation about the word, because she's on one side of the United States, I'm on the other. So I'm in Oregon and she's over on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And we say roof, and you say
roof.
Yeah. You almost did it. But it was more of a roof.
Roof.
And I'm like, no, that's what a dog says. A dog says roof. Roof.
I'm cognizantly thinking about it. So I'm setting
I
intention.
watched your face when you said it. I'm like, oh, she had to work through that one.
I did.
That was awesome. That was so good. Okay.
So
continue.
No, you're fine. So movement is, we're going to go into the acronym ROOF, and and R is relationships. We have to have movement in our relationships. We have to have a tribe. We have to have, really set intention to be with action takers, people that will make you grow, that will call you out on your bullshit. When you're lying to yourself, when you're making excuses for yourself.
Yep.
And I was talking to, my counselor. Yes, counselors and coaches have coaches and counselors. We do.
I do. Yeah.
Because we have blind spots as humans. We can help other people with all of their stuff, but when it comes to us, we have very much the same blind spots you do. Very much.
Oh my God, did I need to hear this today or something?
Yes, you did.
Yes, no, that's exactly true. One of my very best friends is also a counselor. So we tend to bounce stuff off of each other.
Right.
And we will call each other out on our shit. And we know that it's coming from a great place, both personally and professionally, because we would never do something to, intentionally hurt each other. But sometimes you have to say something to somebody. Yes.
It comes from love. The overarching thing is just having a compassionate, loving heart, being in that empathy and being willing to set those boundaries and values. People that you want people in your life that knows what your values are and what you're trying to do, and they'll call you out like, Kinsey, this doesn't sound like this is the right move for you because you have talked about this, that, or the other, but this gives you a total 180. I think you're getting off track here. And I've had people say that to me. And I thanked them because I got overexcited. I got dysregulated emotionally, and I was just doing an emotional response.
Exactly. And it gave you a moment to pause because of the value of the person that you were talking to.
Right.
Because it is a shock. When they do say that, you are going to do the guffaw, like, oh, I do not, in your mind. But you do have to take it in and go, oh, shit, they wouldn't say this unless there was a value and a truth. And it's probably hard for them to say, and then you have to like bathe in that for a second, and okay, and then listen and take it in.
We
So
all have
it's a
blind
tough thing to
spots.
do, but yeah, we all have blind spots.
We
I've been
have,
an
and
LPN for over 10 years,
mm,
and I still have to talk to somebody to be able to
right,
regulate these blinders here and move them and go, oh wow, I was so focused here I didn't see this, so whoops, it
right.
happens. And that's why we're talking to you, because we all have blind spots.
And you could substitute for blind spots. You could say biases. You could say judgments. This
Good.
isn't to poo-poo or shame you. As
No.
humans, these are just what we have been taught. And it plays
Yeah.
in the background as a record player, like back in the 90s with the boombox. It's just playing in our ear. But the awareness of
Mm-hmm.
it is when you can pivot and make profound changes in your life. So,
Mm-hmm.
being open, the first O is openness. Being
Mm-hmm.
open to, people, the relationships that, kind of nudge you to be in alignment with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We, as humans, we are can very much get dysregulated very easily, whether it is the news, hello people, whether it is,
Mm-hmm.
our job, whether it is, a loss of a friendship or whatever, for whatever reason. But if those things do happen, that pain is a lesson. That pain is
Mm-hmm.
a lesson. So the next O is being just optimistic. And Gen Xers, I know this one can be difficult. I struggled with this for a very long time. When is the shoe gonna
I
drop?
love that you said that so much. Gen X, optimism, oil, water. Seriously. It's not just me, it's not just you, it's everybody in that Gen X realm, and 5 years on each side of it.
Right,
Optimism.
right.
Nope.
Yeah, no. And then, that
Mhm.
optimism, what we bring into our emotional body, what we bring into our physical body. If we look at ourselves in the mirror and we say, "Oh, you're a fat ass slob," right? Or
What'd you
you
call me?
look at yourself as like, "Baby, I love you. We're going to get through this. We're going to, lose X amount of weight. We're going to do that." You know what I mean? My intention
Okay,
is,
I thought we were going to talk about this now.
I mean,
Called me
you
a
can
fat ass.
I mean, for the people listening at home, I really want you just to feel that energy of when you say
Mhm.
negative things and when you say, more replenishing
Oh
things.
yeah. Oh yeah. It feels so different. I was When I was younger, the amount of negativity that I had and the lack of
Mm-hmm.
optimism that I had was unbelievable. I didn't even have optimism. Hell, I didn't even
No.
know what the word meant until I was over the age of 30.
Yeah,
And then
negative
I've
was
had
in
to
all
do some
caps.
sort of like, you know, I had to, matriculate the negativity out, and it was, it took a long time counseling,
Right.
being
Counseling and coaching has
bibliotherapy.
been
Yeah.
my saving grace. So if you see
Mine too.
somebody, I will say this, you don't have to see Bobby, you don't have to see me, but if you do see somebody, I really would ask them, do you have a coach or a counselor? Because if they don't, I really, from my own experience, I've asked that question, and after I started seeing somebody and they go no, and I go, I can tell because
Ah,
they just you know
woo! Just get it out
Bec-
there.
well, the thing is people aren't in the work with themselves, they can't help other people. So that's just all I'm gonna say about that. We could do
Okay, all right.
yeah,
Take,
yeah.
sometimes when you hear stuff, you got to take a moment to go, does that resonate with me?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people say things to you and they're trying to say them a little bit passively so that they can get it out there and maybe you can digest it a little bit. And that's what I tend to do. I tend to grab onto things like that. When you said that, I was like, huh, yeah, I get that now, because it took me, I mean, when I first started my practice, you don't have a lot of money rolling around. So you can't really pay for anybody to help you. But after a little while, you're like, okay, you got to gather the right people and put the right funds into the right things. And when you're doing the work yourself, it's easier to help other people with the work that you're trying to do.
Exactly.
I know what a hammer is. I know what a nail is, but I don't know how to frame a house.
Right.
Hey, is frame one of our things?
Yes.
Man.
Yes. For intention. Yeah. So, I mean, in this movement, with relationships, being open, being optimistic, that requires fellowship, because it takes a village, my friends, to grow. You can't do this alone. You can do it. I'm not going to say it's not impossible, but you can learn so much from other people. Having just that relationship and fellowship is completely imperative when you're looking outside of your own perspective, your own biases, your own judgments. Because some things you might it just is because that's been my experience, but somebody might have a completely different perspective and experience. And it's just honoring those things. So being resilient requires a community in unity moving forward. Building a safe house requires awareness, intention, and movement. You need the unseen support of the pain, the lessons, the values, the boundaries, and having clarity, and really set the foundation of your constitution by feeling, reflecting, accepting, being mindful, whether it's meditation, and having that guiding star, that end star. And get yourself in movement, because nothing happens in stagnation. Nothing. Relationships don't happen. Yep. Openness doesn't happen.
Agreed.
Optimism doesn't happen. Fellowship doesn't happen. Your resilience does not happen. So put that damn
movement
roof
is important,
on.
Physically and mentally. Stay in movement. One of the slogans that I have in my world is just keep moving. Just keep moving, because something good is going to happen. Just keep moving.
Yep.
So
I mean,
the mantras that I chant to myself.
I know. So protect your constitution. Aim your focus, meaning awareness, intention, and movement. And next week, we'll go more into awareness and really break that down, give some tools on that. And then the next week after that, we'll go into intention and give some tools on that. And then intention. Yeah.
Intention. Okay.
Intention. Yeah. And then, after that, we'll do movement, really talking about the roof on your house. So
well said.
Yes. So in this time and space, we have a tendency to really feel deflated, and that we can't change anything that's happening in our outside world. But it really takes setting intention and protecting your constitution, protecting your house, and aiming your focus to grow. Really aim to be the best version of yourself, your higher self.
Agreed. Good wrap up. Nice job.
Yeah, because you have the power, my friends. Reclaim it. Reclaim your power.
Yep. It's hard to admit, but you do. And I like that we covered all of this today, and then we get, in the next few episodes, we can really concentrate on a few of these and break them down. So it's going to be beneficial.
Yes. And I think it's very much needed. We very much need to protect our personal constitution and really focus on our own self-care. So,
right on.
Yeah, so we will see you all next week when we break down awareness, and I will link up I'll link up the previous one on forgiveness, mastering the F word. There's a lot of good tools within it. Last week, I really went into a tool to really focus in and ground down into yourself. So, play, be curious, my friends, and we will see you next week.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes,
All
yes.
right, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.